At least 500,000 people remain in displacement camps in Darfur, 2 decades after a bloody conflict broke out between the Arab-dominated Sudanese government and rebel groups. For many among the displaced, there is no home to return to. Some have had their villages burned to the ground. Others say their homes are now occupied by Arab tribes. Doctors who have lived with the communities in West Darfur are piecing together the broken clinics and hospitals in an area known as Krenik and instilling hope to millions. Here's their story.
These scenes rocked Khartoum for months. Angry with their leaders, the Sudanese went out on the streets daily since the ouster of Omar al-Bashir in 2019. Sudan has been ungovernable since then. The country has been steeped in chaos after a military coup led by the country's top general Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in October 2021. The coup resulted in the removal of a Western-backed government, appending its short-lived transition to democracy. This is West Darfur. In April last year, at least 200 people were killed in fighting between Arabs and non-Arabs at this area known as Krenik. The clashes first erupted with the killing of 2 people by an unknown assailant in Krenik, about 30 kilometers east of Janina, the provincial capital of West Darfur. Emily Wambugu, a project medical referent for Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, narrated the harrowing ordeal, how the hospital was ruined, 2 hospital staff and 8 patients killed, and the hospital pharmacy looted.
On the 25th, it was the heaviest day with a lot of shooting around that started from 6:45 a.m. And then most of the mothers that had come back decided to leave the hospital, and there was no option because also all the staff also ran away for their life. And the only people that were left in the hospital were 4 mothers where the children were on oxygen. As it was reported, they decided to stay in the hospital, and whatever will happen, they will not remove their children again from the oxygen.
Soon after the horrific incident, MSF moved back to West Darfur in December 2022. MSF provided humanitarian assistance and healthcare services to both internally displaced and local communities. They ran fixed and mobile clinics in and around El Janina town and supported the El Janina Teaching Hospital and the main healthcare facility in Krenik town before it was destroyed. Dr. Prince Matthew, who was MSF's project coordinator at the time and recently coordinated and executed the rebuilding process, spoke to WION.
So one of the first things that we did was really focus on community engagement to negotiate safe access on the road between Janina and Krenik. We directly engage with the communities that live alongside that road, meeting with youth groups, elders, women. We also negotiated directly with all of the armed groups in the area to explain our neutrality and our intention to start activities in Krenik and to support the hospital in Krenik and provide free quality healthcare. That is without any discrimination. We do not ask our patients their race, their gender, their political affiliations, or their ethnicity. Anyone who comes to our clinics are treated free of cost with no other discrimination.
Many people live in densely populated displacement camps surrounding the hospital. Public spaces and schools are now filled with hundreds of tents and makeshift shelters. The only water supply is by donkey carts.
So this is also the reason why we started doing some of these mobile clinics, because we realized that if you're a pregnant woman, rather than take a 4-hour donkey cart journey to the hospital that we function in many of these cases, it is important that we bring healthcare closer to the areas that our communities live in. And this is how we started to do mobile clinics, focusing on the nomadic communities that are resident 20, 30 kilometers outside of Krenik so that we can bring healthcare to them.
On the 22nd of January, the hospital picked up, reopening the emergency room, where injuries related to accidents, gunshot wounds, or violent incidents can be treated around the clock. A maternity ward was also set up to take care of the newborns. But even with Krenik picking up the pieces, there is a lot at stake.
It's becoming more and more difficult to get funding for humanitarian healthcare, but it's also becoming more difficult to implement healthcare programs in the country. And this is where we need the government and the others to realize the importance of life-saving medical care that is neutral and impartial, because violence affects everyone, and it is our responsibility to do the best that we can to save lives in this country.
Sudan is undergoing a transition. Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, who seized power in a 2021 coup, called on troops to end support for authoritarian leaders as talks begin on military reforms, part of a prolonged transition to civilian rule. Many humanitarian organizations, including the MSF, are hoping that with all that is happening in the capital, more emphasis will be placed on the security of people living in volatile regions like Darfur. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.